All right, so Revenge was released in July of 2022. Since then, based on polling and media coverage, how would you describe the trajectory of Harry and Meghan's reputations professionally and personally? It feels like they've taken quite a bit of a dive.
I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly. And I don't think they're finding any more sources of income.
Right in the book, Harry must be nuts. This is one of the text messages his friends were sending around to each other after Meghan's first introduction to Harry's friends in 2017 during a shooting weekend at Sandringham.
I think personally, they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
How desperate was Meghan Markle to be famous? Well, apparently, according to Tom Bower's book, she basically spent seemingly all her money with the sole goal of intention of finding the right connections and being as famous as humanly possible.
Tom Bower, who has been working on the sequel to Revenge for some time, has secured a big money serialization deal with Rupert Murdoch's News UK, specifically the Times newspaper, but I believe it may also extend to the Sun newspaper too, to reveal the first bombshells from his book, which is expected to further damage the Madam of Montecito.
Out of nowhere, Tom Bower has stirred things up again, and this time Meghan Markle reportedly isn't thrilled about it. The investigative biographer who caused a major stir with his 2022 bestseller is stepping back into the spotlight. His follow-up book, Revenge 2, is officially on the way, and Bower is hinting that this new material could be even harder to dismiss than the first round of revelations. This time, the rollout is serious. Bower has secured a major serialization deal with News UK, meaning sections of the book will be released through the Times and the Sun piece by piece. When his first book dropped, Meghan and Prince Harry still had big streaming deals and strong support across Hollywood. Fast forward to now, and the situation looks very different. Spotify ended its partnership, several Netflix projects struggled to gain traction, and reports about unsold lifestyle products started raising eyebrows. The overall mood around the brand seems to have shifted, but the story reportedly goes deeper than business headlines. Bower is said to be exploring long-discussed questions that critics and commentators have mentioned for years. Things like early career connections, elite social circles such as Soho House, timeline debates, and other topics that have never fully disappeared from public discussion. Whether those claims ultimately prove significant or not, Bower is framing this sequel as a much deeper dive than the first book.
It certainly brings to light that whole theory of you put a frog in boiling water, it jumps straight out, but if you put a frog in cold water, it will slowly boil to death. And I think a lot of people, whilst myself hasn't actually been really shocked by the revelations because I was aware of, I'd say, most of them.
Not pregnant at all. Instead, the video has emboldened conspiracy theorists. They're calling it Megspiracy, and the pair are being subjected to yet more merciless ridicule. For Harry and Meghan, it's more a case of never reign and never abstain, especially when it comes to nauseating self-publicity, which invariably backfired.
And so he became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationships, never thinking that they could have something to do with himself. So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. I mean, a needy man met a woman who could help him with his needs.
Markle is lying about her age. In fact, they think she's older. And not a surprise here because, yeah, she lies a lot about her stuff. We've caught her in so many lies. Her own sister has come forward, her family, everybody is exposing the lies that she's been telling.
That is the picture Tom Bower paints in about the first 100 or so pages of his new book about Harry and Meghan. And so, guys, I'm going to just share with you a couple of the insights that I saw and some of the huge warning signs about who Meghan is and her intentions and how really this whole thing with her and Harry will absolutely end in tears.
For anyone unfamiliar with Tom Bower, his reputation in British publishing is intense. Over the years, he has written more than 25 unauthorized biographies on powerful figures, including Robert Maxwell, Richard Branson, Tony Blair, Boris Johnson, Simon Cowell, and even King Charles III, his approach is direct: track down witnesses, review documents, and build a narrative using interviews and records. His previous book about the Sussexes became an international bestseller and was reportedly based on around 80 sources, along with extensive documentation. One detail often mentioned by supporters is that Bauer has faced heavy legal scrutiny in the past, but has not lost a lawsuit tied to his books. That track record is largely credited to his reliance on verifiable records and documented sources. With Revenge 2, he appears ready to apply that same formula again. And he hasn't been quietly working from a desk either. Bauer has reportedly traveled across Canada and the United States while researching, even attending the Invictus Games himself. According to interviews, this project has been building for years. In one recent conversation, he said, "I've got a lot of new material already," suggesting that public curiosity around the story is still very strong. The book is expected to release in early 2026, and reports suggest Meghan and Harry won't have any control over how the narrative is presented. There's also been an interesting shift in media involvement. The Daily Mail reportedly stepped away from serialization because of ongoing legal concerns, but the Times and the Sun appear ready to move forward with publishing excerpts without those same restrictions, a sign that the rollout could become a major media event.
The Sun and the Times did not do a deal with Tom Bauer for his book on the Beckhams, and it was because those two newspapers are in the pockets of the Beckhams. They didn't want to run negative revelations about the Beckhams. I'm told that there is some disappointment from Bauer that the Mail did not bid for Revenge Part 2, but of course that is because the Mail's coverage of Harry and Meghan is now corrupted because of the ongoing court case, which is still taking place in the High.
Well, he just found her just too vain and too self-interested, which seems like he met his own match. But in the end, Simon doesn't really like many celebrities. I noticed when I went with him to the Oprah Winfrey Show and many other places around Hollywood and elsewhere, he's a rather shy guy. He's always afraid of being associated with people who are bigger than him or who might put him in the shade.
As an internet glitch on Meghan Markle's website has revealed more than she probably ever wanted people to know about how poorly her business is performing. Yes, oh yes, she tried to really promote last year that As Ever was this massive success. It was selling out left, right, and center. But just, what is it, about 8, 9, 10 months in, we see a very different.
Bauer even pointed to a cultural moment that showed how the public conversation had changed. In February 2023, South Park aired the episode called Worldwide Privacy Tour. The show introduced the Prince and Princess of Canada, a couple loudly asking for privacy while constantly sharing their problems with the world. The parody felt unmistakably pointed, and viewers quickly connected the dots. Within hours, the episode had sparked massive online debate and turned into one of the most talked about pop culture moments of that year. One moment from the episode directly mirrored a real video Meghan had shared online, a clip showing her dancing inside a hospital room while heavily pregnant, with Harry nearby. She presented it as a lighthearted, joyful moment. South Park flipped it into full satire, recreating the scene in animated form and pushing it to an exaggerated extreme for comedic effect. The reaction online was immediate. Clips spread everywhere, memes flooded TikTok, and the phrase, "respect our privacy," quickly turned into a running joke across social media. Another part of the episode displayed a mock character profile listing 4 labels: sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim. Supporters felt the portrayal was unfair and overly harsh. Critics, however, argued that it reflected how some parts of the public already viewed the situation. There were even reports claiming her team attempted to stop the episode before it aired, though that was never officially confirmed. In the end, the episode aired exactly as planned, and satire remains protected speech.
Sometimes, I don't know, words seem superfluous really. Meghan shared that bedside twerking video, taken shortly apparently before she gave birth to Lilibet. Remember the child that she named after the Queen's private nickname that was given to by Duke of Edinburgh, without getting permission from the Queen.
Your opinion is irrelevant, because I'm a baby mama. I can do just what I want. Turn up. If she a baby mama, she gon' do that baby mama. She gon' put
Putting her full official name of Rachel Meghan Markle, you can see that the official records show she was born in 1981. There it is, August 4th, 1981. If you go over on Google, is she lying about her age? It currently says August 4th, 1981, that she is 41. Well, she would be 42 today. But is this true? And that she was 21 years old at the time of publication. That would make her birth year at around 1976. However, why is it saying here she was born 5 years later in 1980?
I think it's going to be explosive because Meghan Markle can't control this narrative. Tom Bower is incredibly well respected. And at the end of the day, we want the truth, and we can't get the truth from the Royal Rota. We can't get the truth from Meghan Markle or Prince Harry. They are pathological liars. They cherry pick what they want to believe or what they want us to believe.
Bower reportedly paid close attention to how Hollywood reacted afterward. One industry voice even told Variety that major studios prefer to avoid projects. Surrounded by constant controversy, that idea ties into a larger point. Satire rarely creates doubts from nothing. It tends to amplify conversations that already exist. That's the type of cultural shift Bower appears interested in examining further. For years, online forums have debated possible inconsistencies surrounding Meghan's pregnancy timeline. Observers pointed to photos where the baby bump appeared different or public appearances that sparked speculation. None of those theories have ever been proven, but the discussions haven't fully disappeared either. In past interviews, Bower noted that certain personal details were excluded from his first book because of strict British privacy laws. Whether any of those topics appear in Revenge 2 is still unknown, but he has hinted there may be more material to explore. Another factor now changing the situation is where Bower is working from. He's reportedly collaborating with American publishers and operating under U.S. legal standards while compiling research over the last 3 years. That shift alone could affect how the story unfolds.
Be afraid. Be very afraid. And I don't mean this truly creepy new picture that Meghan Markle has just released, looking stalker-like. Apparently that is to promote as ever. But what I'm actually talking about is the fact that Ms. Markle herself should be afraid, because I can reveal Tom Bower.
It is uncomfortable, but I don't think, because she's done this before for photos, I don't think that is a real baby bump. I think
way too big. It's way too big.
And sort of too low as well.
Yeah, it's like a meter out there. I mean, it looks the wrong shape.
Where's she going to give birth there? Through her knees or something? I mean, that is...
Piers Morgan has zero love for Meghan Markle. He has made that quite clear. But apparently he took his Meghan obsession too far. And you know what? The Duchess has struck back.
Sure did. And that may be why he's out of a job now. But Piers is doubling down.
Meghan's Netflix series, released to the world this morning, is packed with, well, not really revelations, are they? It's sort of rehashed old revelations with a new twist. As it turns out, we've apparently been wrong all along. Britain is a nasty, racist hellhole where only magnificent Meghan stood up to all this, and the world's biggest victims are not the people.
The questions he's said to be reviewing are the kinds critics have raised for a while, such as why there were no interior hospital photos released, why birth announcements came at unusual times, and why certain images sparked online debate about what skeptics called visual inconsistencies. According to interviews, even some publishers were surprised by the level of detail Bower gathered for his earlier book. At the time, he moved carefully, partly because discussions around race made the topic especially sensitive for media outlets. But documents remain documents. Tax filings, certificates, and archived records exist regardless of public opinion. Bower's method rarely involves making blunt accusations. Instead, he lays out timelines, presents contradictions, and lets readers draw their own conclusions. Supporters say that approach helps protect his work from legal trouble because it focuses on documented discrepancies rather than bold claims. Recently, attention has also shifted to another long-running internet debate, Meghan's age. Official records list 1981 as her birth year, placing her in her early 40s today. Yet older interviews, casting listings, and archived profiles have occasionally shown years like 1978 or 1979. In Hollywood, small age adjustments have long been rumored because different age brackets can affect casting opportunities. Still, nothing has been officially confirmed, and it remains one of those details that online investigators continue to argue about. Bauer reportedly has access to early agency records, enrollment timelines, and casting documents that most people never get to see. According to reports, he has been comparing graduation dates, Meghan's time at Northwestern University, and the early stages of her acting career. He isn't claiming firm conclusions. Instead, he highlights where certain dates or numbers don't perfectly line up. Spotting those small inconsistencies is exactly how he built his reputation. Then there's the long-discussed connection to Soho House. For years, online commentators have wondered how Meghan, during the early stages of her acting career, gained regular access to one of the world's most exclusive private clubs.
Post reporting that indeed it is now operating as all smoke and mirrors. Sarah Nathan, who is their editor-at-large, said that Harry and Meghan have been forced to downsize the staff as it was costing them so much. The big question was, would Archewell close or would another charity take over? Harry and Meghan were looking to get a fiscal sponsor, someone to take on the outgoing costs and to keep things cheap. Really, it's all smoke and mirrors. Page 6 confirmed that 3 members, 60% of the charity staff, have now been let go. But of course, what this tax information really reveals is that they are using Archewell to fund their lifestyle, not to change the world, because the security bill alone said to be around $2 million a year, with money flowing out of the charity.
Memberships can cost thousands of dollars, and strong connections usually play a big role. In Spare, Harry even described the club as something close to Meghan's base during that period. One name that often appears in these discussions is Marcus Anderson, Soho House's global membership director. Observers have pointed out that Anderson seemed to be present in several cities Meghan spent time in, including Toronto, London, and later California. He was also among the notable guests at the royal wedding. On its own, that doesn't prove anything, but mapping out social networks like this is exactly the type of pattern Bauer is known for examining. Typically, he simply lays out the timeline and allows readers to decide what they think it means. Another topic that has circulated online for years involves rumors about luxury yacht gatherings. Old photos have appeared on the internet claiming to show Meghan on yachts with wealthy guests before she met Harry. Some of those images were later said to be misidentified, and even internet researchers acknowledged mistakes. Still, critics say the broader question continues to pop up: how she seemed to move within those high-end social circles so consistently. During her time starring in Suits, Meghan reportedly earned around $50,000 per episode, which is certainly a solid salary. Even so, some observers question whether that income alone would explain luxury travel, designer wardrobes, and appearances at elite yacht events in places like Saint-Tropez. Commentators like Piers Morgan once shared photos showing Meghan at exclusive parties before her royal relationship began. What stood out to some people wasn't just the images.
So Archewell actually recorded total expenses of $5.1 million, according to its latest 990 form. Salaries for 2024 were listed at $913,000. Expenses were up 54% year on year, soaring from $3.3 million. Other expenses recorded at $2.9 million. Meanwhile, donations and grants to the group dipped from $5.3 million in 2023 to $2.1 million in 2024. Insiders skeptical of how Archewell, which doled out $1.25 million in grants in 2024, can continue. The source said if they're shooting out grants, then that's a net loss and they're not bringing in that much money. So Brittany, when you think about this, I believe it is clear exposure of what Archewell really is. A PR project, nothing more. It's disgusting.
It was the lack of legal response afterward. Meghan has pursued legal action over certain media stories before, yet no lawsuit emerged around this topic. Some view that silence as strategic, while others argue that staying quiet proves nothing at all. The debate never really settles. Bauer has reportedly spoken with individuals who were part of those social scenes, party guests, insiders, and people familiar with the circles she moved in. And while non-disclosure agreements can slow conversations down, they don't always last forever. That's reportedly another angle he's been exploring. Fast forward to April 2024, when Meghan launched her lifestyle brand American Riviera Orchard. Early headlines suggested the first products sold out quickly, and outlets like Harper's Bazaar reported strong interest. On the surface, it looked like a successful launch. But soon after, online users claimed to find website data, suggesting that inventory levels might have been much higher than expected. Some internet analysts even alleged that thousands of items could still be sitting unsold. Online discussion soon began circulating some eye-catching numbers. Figures like 137,000 fruit spread boxes and inventory supposedly worth millions started appearing in posts and forums. Critics tried estimating daily sales and suggested that the sold-out messaging might have reflected limited initial batches rather than total stock. None of these figures have been officially verified, but the speculation quickly spread and fueled debate about how the launch was marketed. There has also been chatter about other potential products, including candles and premium subscription boxes.
Now, Marcus started off at Soho House, London as a waiter, and he worked his way up. Now, this is an astounding story in itself. He worked his way up to Global Membership Director, and he was a Global Membership Director when he first met Meghan. Now, his job was to go to a new city wherever they were opening up a new Soho House, and his job was to find the best and the brightest of that city to invite to the founding members party. And they didn't just invite anybody. To be a founding member, you really had to be somebody in the social scene of the city where they were opening up. Now, it always worried me that all of the biographers that have done books on Meghan Markle, and also a lot of people that have done interviews and magazine articles, sort of imply that just because she was in Suits, that was how she met Marcus Anderson in Canada. And that always worried me because I knew that in those early seasons of Suits, they pretty much went on the map with many people. And I couldn't see that Marcus Anderson would necessarily meet her.
Some skeptics questioned where certain items were actually produced compared to how they were presented in branding. A few online voices argued the marketing leaned strongly into a homemade artisanal image while manufacturing might have happened elsewhere. Again, these claims remain part of internet discussion rather than confirmed facts. More recently, talk of a possible cookbook has added another layer to the conversation.
She sells 0.03 of her overall stock every day. Now, for a big company, I can maybe somewhat understand that because they're so big, they have so much, like, it's sort of understandable. But I really feel like that is way too much for a small, struggling business. Nobody gave a crap about the box. And Meghan Markle's, I think, whole idea that this was going to be, like, the box was going to be a huge thing. Like, it's a normal box. And I have her dumb keepsake thing from the spread that she forced us to buy for the first round, and it's useless. And so she was kind of a dummy and wildly overstocked the box.
Some critics have compared a few recipes linked to the brand with ideas associated with well-known figures like Martha Stewart. Whether those comparisons hold any real weight remains unclear. At the same time, attention has shifted toward the Archewell Foundation's publicly available tax records. Those IRS Form 990 filings are open to the public, and analysts have already started reviewing donation levels and spending patterns. If Tom Bauer sticks to his usual style, he likely won't rely on internet rumors alone. Instead, he tends to present documents, timelines, and verified records while leaving readers to draw their own conclusions. Given the buildup around this book, many expect the discussion surrounding these topics to grow even louder. The financial side of Archewell has also drawn attention. Public tax filings show expenses of roughly $5.1 million, while donations for the same period were reported at around $2.1 million. On paper, that creates a noticeable gap. Expenses also increased compared to the previous year, while donations appeared to decline, naturally prompting questions about how funds were allocated. About $913,000 was listed for salaries connected to 2 senior staff members. Another $2.9 million appeared under a category labeled Other Expenses. Analysts online suggest this type of category can sometimes include security, travel, or administrative costs, though the filings themselves don't break down every specific detail. Charitable grants were listed at approximately $1.25 million. Supporters argue nonprofits often invest heavily in operations to support their mission, while critics feel the numbers raise concerns. The conversation around it has been intense. There were also reports that California briefly marked the organization as delinquent due to paperwork issues before the matter was later resolved. Around that same time, the foundation adjusted its structure and began operating under Archewell Philanthropies, using a fiscal sponsorship model. Some observers see this as a routine organizational shift, while others find the timing notable.
Meghan is a consummate survival actress. You raise this extraordinary beginning of the year when she carved 2025 in the sand. And it's a very, very interesting image that it came out on New Year's Day this year, because the previous weeks had been absolutely turgid and torrid for her. She had been dubbed Duchess Difficult again. There have been allegations of bullying.
Much of the interpretation depends on perspective. Experts often point out that many nonprofits aim to keep operational costs at a certain percentage of their revenue, though those ratios vary widely depending on size and mission. Some online commentators believe Archewell's expense-to-revenue ratio appears higher than typical benchmarks. Whether that signals a problem or simply reflects a different operational model continues to be debated. Another topic often mentioned is staff turnover. Reports suggest several senior team members have moved on over the years, including communications directors, foundation leaders, and advisors. Turnover isn't unusual in high-pressure environments, especially within global media and celebrity circles. Still, critics say the pattern stands out. In past interviews, Tom Bower has hinted that former insiders might speak more openly once certain agreements expire. Public opinion in the UK has also shifted since around 2019, according to polling frequently referenced in media reports. During that time, streaming partnerships have changed, projects have received mixed reactions, and the overall business landscape looks very different from a few years ago. Supporters argue reinvention takes time and public narratives can evolve. Critics believe the changes point to deeper challenges. With Revenge 2 expected in early 2026, Bower appears ready to once again present documents, timelines, and insider accounts. Whether readers view the book as investigative accountability or simply another controversy will depend on what ultimately appears in its pages. One thing seems certain, though: the discussion around it.
There's some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time. There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
We have Alice of the Castle with the view of the recent Rogan's comments on Meghan Markle. Many of you have seen this picture already. You see that there's Meghan with her Cajuna hat. I always forget the name of that kind of hats.
Isn't slowing down. This is also where the tension in the story ramps up. Bower's first book focused largely on what critics believed Meghan and Harry were doing after stepping into the global spotlight. But if his recent hints are accurate, Revenge 2 may dig even further back, examining the years before royal fame entered the picture. Topics that have circulated online for years: social connections, age debates, pregnancy speculation, charity finances, business struggles, and staff departures are all reportedly being revisited through interviews, records, and timelines. It's important to remember that many of these topics have existed in public discussion for a long time. Some are tied to public filings, some come from commentary, and others remain debated. Bower's approach has typically stayed consistent: reference documents, quote sources, and highlight inconsistencies while letting readers draw their own conclusions. Supporters often say that focus on records is why legal efforts to block his books have rarely succeeded. Once serialization begins through the Times and the Sun, excerpts are expected to appear week after week. That steady flow of headlines could keep the story circulating for months. Timing may also play a big role. This sequel arrives after streaming deals changed, after product launches face scrutiny, after parody moments like South Park went viral, and after charity filings drew online attention. The media landscape now looks very different compared with when the first book was released. Critics argue pressure around the couple continues to grow. Supporters believe it's simply another wave of media attention. The reality may fall somewhere in the middle. What's clear is that Tom Bower has built a reputation for persistence, researching carefully, cross-checking details, and waiting until he believes the full picture is ready before stepping into the spotlight again. Will Revenge 2 really change everything? That all depends on what new details actually appear in the book. A headline can create instant buzz, but public opinion usually shifts slowly over time. If the documents and sources are solid, the conversation could get even louder. If the revelations fall flat, the hype might fade just as quickly. Either way, early 2026 is shaping up to be another big chapter in this ongoing story. Now, I want to hear what you think. Do you believe this sequel will uncover something major? Or is it simply another round in a long media back and forth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm checking them out. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who follows celebrity news, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. More timelines, more analysis, and more stories are on the way. And before you leave, tap the next video on your screen. It goes even deeper into the newest twists shaking up Hollywood right now. I'll catch you in the next upload.